Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm going to be looking at Hack the Box, specifically Hack the Box Academy, because I want to learn all this hacking stuff. Bit of background about myself, I'm a kind of low-level junior grunt coder and I wanted to learn some more hacking things, as I just said. So I went on to Hack the Box. I realised they've got loads and loads of different modules. We can have a look at all this. Pen testing, attacking enterprise networks, all this stuff. You can unlock them with cubes. I think I've only got 30 because I've already unlocked a module that I wanted to do. So that is the let me show you which one I unlocked. I unlocked this one using the Metasploit framework because I've heard Metasploit is a pretty important part of all this. It's an interesting tool, so I'm going to try and just go through all this kind of information here, make it a bit more readable, make it a bit more interesting for people who can't be bothered to sit there and read through what is quite a lot of stuff. So I'm going to read it for you, kind of, the text to voice robot equivalent, of all this. So, and do it for you. It's kind of like a little let's play for hacking. So, okay, so introduction to Metasploit. I'm going to skim read a little bit my head myself and talk over and hopefully make it a bit more interesting. Okay, so introduction to Metasploit. It's a Ruby-based modular penetration testing platform. And we used to write tests, execute, and exploit code. Okay, that's all good. So it could basically do everything. So you've got modules. These are all the modules on the side. Exploit. They are actual exploit proof of concepts that have already been developed and tested in the wild and integrated with the framework to provide pen testers with ease of access to different attack vectors for different platforms and services. Okay, and it talks about, you've got Metasploit Pro. So you've got Metasploit Pro, which is separate from the project, separate from the framework. So it looks like you have the Pro version and just the framework, and the Pro version gives you some more stuff. So it gives you Metasploit Pro's newest features: infiltrate, collect data, remediate. It can do a whole bunch of different things, some of which I've heard of. Antivirus evasion, I've heard of antivirus evasion, some of which I haven't heard of. Proxy pivot, I think I've kind of heard of that, but collecting data, meta modules, Nexpose, scan integration, tagging data, remediate, credential management, a lot of stuff. And it looks like MSF console is the console that you use. And then you have MSF console is the most popular interface to the Metasploit framework. Okay, we've got this. Right, it's console-based application, blah, 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 blah. Both products come with an extensive database of available modules to use in our assessments, usability, user experience. Okay, so the whole point is that it's easy to use and it doesn't require too much knowledge, which is quite nice because you want to get actually into the nitty-gritty of doing stuff rather than just learning a bunch of theory. So, although the theory will obviously help later on. I'm drinking some soda water, so keeps my voice clear for you guys. Understanding the architecture. Okay, we must first look under its hood. Might leave you or your clients exposed to data breaches. I'm not going to click on that. Default, all the base files can be found under user share Metasploit framework in our Parrot OS security distro. Data documentation lib, modules, blah, 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 plugins. So you have a bunch of plugins which allows the pen tester more flexibility. There's a whole bunch of different plugins. Okay, scripts. Metasploit. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Someone can correct me. Metasploit. Metasploit. I'm going to say Metasploit functionality are these for scripts. Okay, tools, command line tools. Okay, payloads, recon, password. Okay, so there's a bunch of different things that we can do, and I like this about Hack the Box. Well, I've only just started using it as of today, but it's quite nice. They've got these little questions here. So answer the questions below. Which version of Metasploit comes equipped with a GUI interface? I'm pretty sure that was Metasploit I didn't read it, but I'm guessing the Pro version. Metasploit Pro. Metasploit Pro. There you go. Congratulations. Which version of Metasploit is free? Metasploit framework. Okay. Oh, is that not how you spell it? Metasploit dash framework. Metasploit. The Metasploit framework comes with a console. No. Not sure what's wrong with that. Metasploit framework. Don't know what's wrong with that, but I'm going to click next. Anyway, start interacting with the Metasploit framework. I definitely did spell it right. We need to type MSF console in the terminal of our choice. I will just say, if I can't work something out, you guys can correct me in the comments if anyone's watching this, which hopefully they will, even though this is my first video. Maybe about 10 years in the future, someone will look back and be, oh, okay, this guy was actually trying something, and correct me. So hopefully that will happen. If not, then whatever. Start interacting with the Metasploit framework. We need to type MSF console in the terminal of our choice. Okay, main security oriented distributions such as Parrot Security and Kali Linux come with it pre-installed. We can use several other options for launching the script, as with any other command line tool. These vary from graphical display switch options to procedural ones. Okay, upon launching the console, launching MSF console. Okay, do we need to start instance? Maybe we need to start instance. Ooh. Oh, do we need to? Oh, that's annoying. Looks like we have to pay, because I already used a it's a workstation thing. It looks like we're going to have to pay to get more. Yeah, billing page. I wonder how much it is. I don't particularly want to spend money on it if I can just use this installation of Kali Linux. Wow. Let's just quickly have a look at what all of this is about, because it looks like there is a lot of stuff you can do. It's a very detailed diagram. Let's just read through this anyway, and then I'll pause and possibly get up Kali Linux in a VM and do that. Anyway, okay, MSF console with a coin splash art. It's quite nice. Okay. Alternatively, you can use the -Q option, which does not display the banner. To better look at all available commands, we can type the help command. You know what? Actually, I'm going to pause, and because it's probably more engaging if you can see me working through this. So let's pause. Okay, I am back with Kali Linux, running it in a virtual machine. So I know this isn't probably the best way of displaying it with the text on the side, but you know, it's my first YouTube video, and I will work out a better way to do this at some point. So until then, this is what we've got. So yeah, this is Kali Linux, 2022, some rolling version that I found. And what is that up there? That's new. Oh, that is cool. That must be the CPU usage. That's very nice. Huh. Okay. So yeah, I'm sure you all know, but for those who don't know, Kali Linux is a Debian installation with a bunch of just really cool stuff that's installed for hacking, basically. I was going to say malware analysis. There is malware analysis stuff in there, but it's mainly just for hacking. And yeah, so one of the things it's got to continue our little exploration is Metasploit. So let's try and launch Metasploit. So still following the tutorial. So the MSF console, because this means that we have to pay for this thing. You need to type MSF console into the terminal of choice. So that's start a bash shell, and we type in MSF console. And is it going to start? Hopefully. Hopefully it will display that nice banner. It's taken some time. In the meantime, we can read. It's a better look at starting the Metasploit framework console. Okay, we can type the help command. First things first, our tools need to be sharp. One of the first things we need to do is make sure the modules that compose the framework are up to date and any new ones available to the public can be imported. Old way would have been to run an MSF update in our OS terminal. Okay, that's new. How do I make this big so you can all see it? There you go. Hopefully this is, I mean, that's not what was in this banner, but whatever. 2,214 exploits. Okay. Anyway, our way would have been to run MSF update in our terminal. The apt package manager can currently handle the updates. Okay. One of the first steps we will cover is searching for a proper exploit for our target. Nevertheless, we need to have a detailed perspective on the target itself before attempting any exploitation. This involves the enumeration process, which precedes any type of exploitation attempt. During enumeration, we have to look at our target and identify which public-facing services are running on it. For example, is it an HTTP server? Is it an FTP server? Is it an SQL database? These different target typologies vary substantially in the real world. We will need to start with a thorough scan of the target's IP address to determine what service is running and what version is installed for each service. We will notice as we go along that versions are the key components during the enumeration process that will allow us to determine if the target is vulnerable or not. Unpatched versions of previously vulnerable services or outdated code in a publicly accessible platform will often be our entry point into the target system. Okay. So we need to scan our target, basically, is what that's saying. So enumeration, preparation, exploitation, privilege escalation, post-exploitation. Okay, that's quite a nice structure. And we've got this diagram here. Next target, oh gosh, enumeration, preparation, exploitation, privilege, escalation, and post-exploitation. Okay, and it's got nmap I've used before. OSINT stuff, all that passive scan, active scanning. So we're going to be doing all this stuff first. Okay, let's skip down here. Mark complete is next. Okay, let's go. A quick mention. I think this whole thing, this whole path or module, is supposed to take quite a long time. So I'm not sure exactly how long. I think it was something like 6 hours. But however long it takes, I'll split this up into hour-long videos. So let's quickly have a quick look at where OBS is at. We are, does it say? Does OBS say how long we've been recording for? Yes, 13 minutes. So I'll just keep an eye on the clock, and 45 minutes I will stop, and that gives us kind of a nice, hour-long videos. I think are kind of just about where people's brains start to melt. So we'll do that. Okay. And okay, cool. So what we've got here, Metasploit modules are prepared scripts with a specific purpose and corresponding functions that have already been developed and tested in the wild. Exploit category consists of a so-called proof of concept that can be used to exploit existing vulnerabilities in a largely automated manner. Many people often think that the failure of the exploit disproves the existence of the suspected vulnerability. Okay, however, this is the only proof that Metasploit exploit does not work and not that the vulnerability does not exist. This is because many exploits require customization according to the target host to make the exploit work. Therefore, automated tools such as the Metasploit framework should only be considered a support tool and not a substitute for our manual skills, of which I have very little. So this is what we've got. Once we are in the MSF console, we can select from an extensive list containing all the modules. Okay, cool. Each of them is structured into folders. Okay, example. Index number, the number tag will be displayed. Okay, and we've got the type tag, the first level segregation, different modules. can tell what the piece of code for this module will accomplish. Okay, some of these types are not directly usable as an exploit module would be, for example. However, they are set to introduce the structure alongside the interactable ones for better modularization. God, there's a lot of words in these things, aren't there? I said I was going to speed up a little bit. So, type. Okay, so we've got auxiliary encoders, exploits, NOPs, no operation code. Keep the payloads. Okay, fine. Payloads, plugins, post. Okay, so these different types of modules. Note that when selecting the module, okay, for payload delivery, the use number command can only be used when the following modules that can be used as initiators or interactable modules. Okay. Okay. OS tag specifies which operating system we can use. It's used for. Service tag is a particular vulnerable service. Auxiliary or post ones. This tag can refer to a more general activity such as gather, referring to the gathering of credentials. I feel like I'm in kind of Cyberpunk 2077. You know, it's kind of, I don't know, doing the doing the breaches or something. I'm learning how to be a netrunner. Name. Finally, the name tag explains the actual action that can be performed using this module created for a specific purpose. Okay, searching for modules. This is how we get into it. Come on. Okay, with the help of the function, we can quickly search through the modules and the tags. Okay, keywords. Wow, options. A lot of options. A lot of keywords. Supported search names. Modules. Okay, fine. We can try to find the Eternal Romance exploit for older Windows operating systems. This could look something like this. Search Eternal Romance, matching modules. Okay, so it gives you the number, the name of the actual file, disclosure date, which is quite nice, rank, not sure what that is, check, and description, which gives you a bit of description. Okay, and yeah. Also make sure our search a bit more coarse and reduce it to one category of services. For the CVE, we could specify the year, the platform to Windows, and type of module, auxiliary exploit to post exploit or something. Okay, cool. And we could do a specific search as well. Search type exploit. Okay, so you can do a bunch of different searches. It all starts with the search key term. Okay, module selection. Firstly, to find one, let's suppose we have a target running a version of SMB vulnerable to Eternal Romance exploits. We have found that SMB server port 445 is open upon scanning the target. So they did an mmap and of that IP address, started an mmap, did all this stuff, and it found a service that is vulnerable to this Eternal Romance thing. You'd boot up an MSF console and search for this exact exploit name. So search MS17010. But does it? How do you find that MS17010? Because that's the. I wonder how they did that. Because it doesn't say anywhere there. Okay. Well, search MS170, and it's giving you all these four different exploits. Select the appropriate module for the scenario. For the mmap scan, we've detected the SMB service running on a Microsoft Windows 7 to 10. Yes. Additional scan, we can guess there's a Windows 7 running a vulnerable instance of SMB. We can then proceed to select the module with the index number 2 to test if the target is vulnerable. Right. Okay, using modules. Within the interactive modules, there are several options that we can specify. These are used to adapt the Metasploit module to the given environment because in most cases, we always need to scan or attack different IP addresses. Therefore, we require this kind of functionality to allow us to set our targets and fine-tune them. To check which options are needed to be set before the exploit can be sent to the target host, we can use the show options command. Okay, show options, everything required to be set before the exploitation can occur. We'll have a yes under the required column. I'm going to quickly make go back to OBS, make things a bit bigger for you. Well, unless we can actually get on to actually doing some of this stuff. Well, I might as well just type in some of these commands into the MSF console to make this a bit more visually interesting for all of you. Okay, so if we do search, and also just typing stuff out will help me learn it. MS17010. Okay, and it's given me these 4 different exploits. Lovely, cool. Just select the appropriate module from the mmap scan. Okay, using modules. So this is, you use the show options. Everything required to be set before the exploitation can occur will have a yes under the required column. Okay. Use 0 exploit options. Snip. Not sure how useful that is. Required, yes. Required to be set before the exploitation can occur. Okay. So, how would I do that? Show options. So you've got module options, exploit options, use 0. So if I type that in, use 0, is that gonna, no payload configured, default into Windows. Ooh, I'm not sure I did the right thing there, but okay. Maybe I do show options 0, show options 0. Ah, there you go, okay. So that's how they did it, so, except we were doing show options 2, so if I, show options 2, or whatever one it was, okay. Anyway, so you've got name, and yes, required. Target hosts, yes, the target port. So these are, so the things, everything required to be set before the exploitation can occur will have a yes under the required column. Okay, so we need these options, whatever that means. Verify arch. I'm sure this will become clearer when I actually start using this. Payload options, exit functional host. Okay, interesting. Exit technique. That's important. Okay, cool. Blah 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 blah. Here we can see how helpful the number tags can be. Because now we do not have to type the whole path, but only the number assigned to the Metasploit module. Okay, obviously, we're doing the numbers. We can use the command info after selecting the module if we want to know something more about the module. This will give us a series of information that can be important to us. Okay, like provided by Shadow Brokers. I seem to remember them in the news a few years ago. Cool. Available targets, PowerShell, native MOF upload, check supported basic options, and there's different options that you can give to this thing, such as show debug trace info and all that kind of jazz. I don't know. And the target and TCP, our port is TCP. Okay, there you go. And this module will exploit SMB with vulnerabilities to achieve a write what where primitive. Not sure what that is. This will then be used to overwrite the connection session information with as an administrator session. From there, the normal PSExec payload code execution is done. This is all very nice. Exploit chain is more reliable than Eternal Blue. Exploit requires a named pipe. Don't know. I've heard of Eternal Blue though. Was that? I think that was for WannaCry, wasn't it? That was the actual exploit or payload or whatever. After we are satisfied that the selected module is the right one for our purpose, we need to get some specifications to customize the module to use it successfully against our target host, such as setting the target, our host, or our hosts. Target specification, MSF target specification. Okay. In addition, there's the option setG, which specifies options selected by us as permanent until the program is restarted. Therefore, if we work on a particular target host, we can use this command to set the IP address once and not change it again until we change our focus to a different IP address. Okay, that's useful. Cool. Permanent target solution. Okay. Once everything is set and ready to go, we can proceed to launch the attack. Note that the payload was not set here, as the default one is sufficient for this demonstration. exploit execution. Okay, so it looks like here, this is actually a screenshot of it being used. We now have a shell in the target machine. We can interact with it here. Target interaction. This has been a quick and dirty example of how MSF console can help out quickly, but serves as an excellent example of how the framework works. Only one module was needed without any payload selection, encoding, or pivoting between sessions or jobs. Okay, well, it doesn't look like we have done very much here, but at least we've learned a bit of stuff. So just by typing in some commands, right? We've typed, show options and search and things like that. So we're learning. We'll get there slowly. And then obviously here, it looks like they've got access some sort of shell on the target machine. Only one module was selected, encoding or pivoting. We'll learn about those concepts, I'm sure, in time. Anyway, click here to answer the question below. Using the Metasploit framework to exploit the target with eternal roam. Okay, find the. Is it going to block us? Is it going to block us? I feel we're not going to be able to do this. It's going to be sad because I would have used it once. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Hopefully. Waiting to start. Well, not sure how this works. Is there any way we can get this? How much is it? I'm going to pause the video quickly and see how much it costs. Okay, so I don't particularly want to pay. It's £15 a month. It doesn't sound much, but I don't really want to pay it when I get one a day. So I'll come back tomorrow and do some more actual, some more of these questions where, it actually allows us to try it out. But for the meantime, the next 45 minutes or so, 40 minutes, however long we've got, I'm gonna just keep on plugging away at this tutorial and just learn a little bits and pieces, taking it slowly. So let's have a look. Okay, targets. Targets are unique operating system identifiers taken from the versions of those specific operating systems which adapt the selected exploit module to run on that particular version of the operating system. Okay, the show targets command. Identifiers. Okay, show targets command issued with an exploit module view will display all available vulnerable targets for that specific exploit. Okay. Right. Okay, so you have to be an exploit module view. While issuing the same command in the root menu outside of any selected exploit module will let us know that we need to select an exploit module first. Cool. So you can try it here. You can try show targets, exploit targets. Oh, we are already in the eternal blue view, so actually so when you're actually in it, it will give you a give you a bunch of, looking at our previous exploit module, this will be what we see. Oh, it looks like we've got a bunch of different targets. Is it these targets which it can attack? Adapt the selected exploit module to run a particular version of the operating system. Okay. Okay, so it's just saying it can run from Windows 7 to Windows 10, right? And all these different versions. Okay, selecting the target. We can see that there is only one general type of target set for this type of exploit. What if we change the exploit module to something that needs more specific target ranges? The following exploit is aimed at Okay, Internet Explorer, use after free vulnerability. If you want to find out more about the specific module and what the vulnerabilities behind it does, we can use the info command. This command can help us out whenever we are unsure about the origins or functionality of different exploits or auxiliary modules. Keeping in mind that this is always considered best practice to audit our code for any artifact generation or additional features. Info command should be one of the first steps we take when using a new module. This way we can familiarize ourselves with the exploit functionality while ensuring a safe, clean working environment for both our clients and us. Sinner. Juan Vasquez. I can't say Latin American names. Okay. Cool. Basic options. Okay. General idea of what this exploit will accomplish. Keep in mind, we would want to check which versions are vulnerable. Okay, so show targets. See options for both different versions of IE, which they've got rid of Internet Explorer now, haven't they? Various Windows versions. Leaving the selection to automatic will let MSF console know that it needs to perform service detection on the given target before launching a successful attack. If we, however, know what versions are running on our target, then you can use the set target index number command to pick a target from the list. Set target 6. Okay, so as we know, that's what we're facing. Easy. Large variety of target types. Each target can vary from another by service pack, OS version, even language version. Okay. Return address can vary because a particular language pack changes. Address can be jump esp, a jump to a specific register that identifies the target, or pop rect. But more on the topic of return addresses, is stat-based buffer overflows on a Wind access. Okay, cool. Interesting. So it's okay. Our target already. We need to obtain a copy of the target binaries and use that thing, MSF PESCAN, to locate a suitable return address. Is that kind of the return address? Is that where we put the exploit in? I'm sure we will discover. Payloads. Okay. A payload refers to a module that adds the exploit module in, typically returning a shell to the attacker. The payloads are sent together with the exploit itself to bypass standard functioning procedures of the vulnerable service. Exploit's job. Okay, and then run on the target OS to typically return a reverse connection to the attacker and establish a foothold. Okay, so you've got the exploit and the payload. And the exploit is bypassing some service, and the payload is okay, fine. So the exploit is kind of like breaking down the door, and then the payload is like the kind of orcs that run into the door. That's a very bad analogy, but yes. Okay, there are 3 different types of payload modules: singles, stages, and stages. 3 typologies. Oh gosh. That is a single payload with no stage. It gets deeper and deeper. Consider a stager and a stage. Okay, so it's got 3 different types of payload, and a payload is usually allowing us to return a reverse connection to the attacker. So a single payload contains the exploit and the entire shell code for the selected task. Inline payloads are by design more stable than their counterparts because they contain everything all in one. However, some exploits will not support the resultant size of these payloads as they can get quite large. Singles are self-contained payloads. However, they are the sole object sent and executed on the target system, getting us a result immediately after running. A single payload can be as simple as adding a user to the target system or booting up a process. Stages. Stager payloads work with stage payloads to perform a specific task. A stager is waiting on the attacker machine, ready to establish connection to the victim host once the stage completes its run on the remote host. Stagers are typically used to set up a network connection between the attacker and the victim and are designed to be small and reliable. Metasploit will use the best one and fall back to a less preferred one when necessary. And it's got this NX versus NX stages. Okay, stages are payload components that are downloaded by stages modules. Various payload payload stages provide advanced features with no size limits, such as Meterpreter, BNC injection, and others. Payload stages automatically use middle stages. Eh? Okay, we're getting a bit too into the weeds here, aren't we? Stager receives the middle stager, stages and stages. Okay, what I'm getting from this is that kind of stages, kind of, you've got a stager and you've got stages. Okay. There you go. Stages are components that are downloaded by stages modules. Staged payloads. A staged payload is simply put an exploitation process that is modularized and functionally separated to help segregate the different functions it accomplishes into different code blocks, each completing its objective individually but working on chaining the attack together. This will ultimately grant an attacker remote access to the target machine if all the stages work correctly. The scope of this payload, as with any other besides granting shell and access to the target system, is to be as compact and inconspicuous as possible to aid with AV and IPS intrusion prevention system evasion as much as possible. Stage 0 of a staged payload represents the initial shell code sent over the network to the target machine's vulnerable service, which has the sole purpose of initializing a connection back to the attacker machine. This is what is known as a reverse connection. As a Metasploit user, we will meet these under the common names reverse TCP, reverse HTTPS, and bind TCP. For example, under the show payloads command, you can look for the payloads that look like this. Okay, reverse TCP, blah, 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 blah. Reverse connection is less likely to trigger prevention systems like the ones initializing the connection. Like the one initializing the connection is the victim host. Security trust zone. Stage 0 code also aims to read a larger subsequently payload into memory once it arrives. A larger payload will be the stage 1 payload. The Meterpreter payload is a specific type of multifaceted payload that uses DLL injection to ensure the connection to the victim host is stable, hard to detect by simple checks, and persistent across reboots or system changes. Meterpreter resides completely in the memory of the remote host and leaves no traces on the hard drive, making it very difficult to detect with conventional forensic techniques. In addition, scripts and plugins can be loaded and unloaded dynamically as required. So that's quite good. It's quite nice, isn't it? Lots of nice things there. If you want to avoid the FBI, the NSA, don't want anything on your hard drive. Once the Meterpreter payload is executed, a new session is created. Okay. Very similar to the MSF console interface, but all available commands are aimed at the target system, which the payload has infected. Offers us a plethora of useful commands, varying from keystrip capture, password hash collection, microphone tapping, and screenshotting to impersonating process security tokens. It's all very nice. Searching for payloads. Okay. Searching for payloads. Sorry. As mentioned above. Let's get rid of that. Yep. Go away. Should turn notifications off. Searching for payloads. To select our first payload, we need to know what we want to do on the target machine. For example, if we're going to access persistence, for going for access persistence, we will probably want to use a Meterpreter payload. As mentioned above, Meterpreter payloads offer us a significant amount of flexibility. Their base functionality is already vast and influential. We can automate and quickly deliver combined with plugins such as Gentle Kiwi's Mickey Mats plugin, parts of the pen test will keep an organized, time-efficient assessment. Show payloads. So these are all different payloads, so we can do that here. Show payloads. Whoa. So these are just a whole bunch of different payloads. Payload. Windows. Inject reflective. PE files. Gosh. This is normal and no. Rank normal, check no. There's not that many. Is that... Oh, those are the payloads specifically for this exploit, I think. I think that's what's going on there. A lot of available payloads. Not only that, we can create our payload. We can create our own payloads using MSF Venom. Dive into that a little bit later. We use the same targets before, and instead of using the default payload, which is a simple reverse TCP shell, we'll be using an interpreter payload for Windows 7 64. On the section containing interpreter payloads for Windows 64. Why has he got 500? I've got 42. How many do I have? I've got 58. How do I get out of this exploit view? Quit. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. I still want to be in the console. Maybe if I do show payload straight after. Because he seems to have 534. As we can see, pretty time consuming to find the desired payload. We can use a grep to filter out specific terms. You have to enter the grep command with the corresponding parameter at the beginning, and then the command in which the filtering should happen. For example, let's assume we want to have a TCP-based reverse shell handled by interpreter for our exploit. Is that what that was supposed to be? Was it supposed to be a donkey? Something. Not a donkey, a ram? A goat? It's definitely not a donkey, is it? It's a goat, isn't it? Let's just quickly do show payloads. Yeah, okay, there you go, 615. God. Cool. You can do a grep command for whichever one you want. Assume we want to have a TCP-based reverse shell handled by an interpreter. Accordingly, we can first search for all results that contain the word interpreter in the payload. So you do grep interpreter show payloads. Okay, there you go. We can try out here. Grep interpreter show payloads. And it's still giving us quite a lot. Still 577. Why hasn't that worked? It's giving us, well, okay, there's a lot. It just is. Don't know why that's the case, but there seems to be a lot of interpreter things. Okay, he's doing the grep-c. Not exactly sure what the -c does. That's just the number. Okay, this gives a total of 14 results. We can add another grep command after the first one and search for reverse TCP. Let's try that. Grep interpreter, and you can do another grep reverse. I'll be doing another one of these tutorials, but for like Linux stuff, because there's another hack the box Linux based learning Linux. I'm sure it will cover grep, because again, always good to go over the basics. And it's there you go. Okay, so it's given us still 577 of these. Oh no, it's not 500. Okay, I'm being stupid. Okay, whatever. It's not 577, but it's still a fair amount of interpreter and then reverse TCP things. Some of them are Linux, OS X, PHP, Windows. Okay. Okay. Same as with the module, we need the index number. Okay. Set the payload for the current selected module. We use set to payload only after selecting an exploit module. So you have to actually be to be in an exploit module. So you see what they've done. They've you did set payload number 15 after when you're in the eternal blue thing. And after setting the payload, we'll have more options available to us. So let's see if we can how did you get into the exploits? We might have to backtrack here a little bit, find how to get the exploit. Just got to find the exploit. Search. Okay, you just do search. And I think maybe you just type in the name. Or is it just search? Okay. Eternal Romance. And then you just search it and you just use it. You have to click use, I think. This is fine tuning with the going to be set before this is going to occur. Okay. There's two different ones here. One is under exploit and one is under auxiliary. So I think we want the one under exploit. Interact with the module, for example. Use. Yeah, you click U, do use. Okay, so I could do use. I could do show options 0. Okay, global options. It's not giving us that required thing, it's just giving us some global options. Invalid parameter 0? Well, that's rude. Do you have to do like index number or something? Or is it show options with a dash? No. Use 0. Okay, maybe you just do use and then options. So you can do use 0. And it will get us into the exploit thing. There you go. And then we can just do options. Yeah, that's what we want. Current settings. Okay. Okay, I'm getting this now. So it's like required. So all these things are required. These are required things that need to be set. Kind of obvious. Okay. Let's go back to where we were. Payloads. Stage payloads. Payloads. Selecting payloads. So set payload number. And so let's go and do using payloads. Let's get to the end of this. How long is this? It's a lot of screenshots, basically. It's what this tutorial is down to. I'll try and get as much information as quick as possible before our hour's up, because we're kind of getting to the point. Don't know how long this has actually been going on for, but it's definitely reaching the point. How long have we got? Windows doing that lovely Windows thing of not showing me the time. Okay, we've got 13 minutes left. Cool. And okay, selecting payloads. Set payload. Set, if I can spell, set payload, and then you do the number. Which number do we want? Which one do we want? Which one did they do? Doesn't really say. Show payload, set payload 15. Set payload 15. Well, if it worked for them, hopefully it worked for us. It didn't really say that it said it, it just did it. For them, it gave them that. For us, it didn't do that. So if we do show options, or show options, as we can see by running the show payloads command with the exploit module itself, MSF console has detected that the target is a Windows machine. And such only display the payloads aimed at Windows operating systems. Okay, we can also see that a new option field has appeared directly related to what the payload parameters will contain. We'll be focusing on L host and L port, our attacker IP, and a desired port for reverse connection initialization. Of course, if the attack fails, we can always use a different port and relaunch the attack. Did we get that? Yes, we did get L host and L port. Fantastic. Okay, it's the listen. So L host and L port, the listen address, listen port. Okay, so our attacker IP, the listen address, and the listen port for reverse connection initialization. Cool. Easy. Using payloads. Time to set our parameters for both the exploit module and the payload module. For the exploit part, we will need to set the following. IP address of the remote host. And our port does not require change, just a check that we're on port 445 where SMB is running. For the payload part, we need to set the following. Okay, if you want to check our lhost IP address quickly, we can always tell the ifconfig command directly from the MSF console menu. ifconfig, and we can run a quick ifconfig here. ifconfig, and it's given some information, and not sure how much of that is useful. And then we can run the exploit and see what it returns. Whoa. Do we need to do anything? Flag, snip. Okay, MSF conflict. Run the exploit. Check out the differences in the output below. Run. Did they just click run? Whoa. Host is likely vulnerable. Scanned. Connecting to target for exploitation. Connection. Groom allocations. Windows 7 professional. Interesting. Whoa. Sending an egg to corrupted connection. Prompt is not a Windows command line one, but an interpreter prompt. The who am I command, typically used for Windows, does not work here. Okay, unknown command. However, we can use the Linux equivalent of getuid. And it's given you clearly authority system over that system. And interpreter payloads are capable of a whole bunch of things. Well, it doesn't look like we have anything that we can attack. This is just me vaguely following what they're doing. So if I click run, I don't think it's going to work. We can try it. Following option failed to validate our hosts. Yeah, so we don't have a something to attack. We can get on to actually maybe doing. Okay, wow. I mean, we'll get on to actually using this whole system on their system when we get that thing tomorrow. But sorry, that's a bit vague. When we get this workstation thing, this instance, we'll get that tomorrow, and we can get into it. For now, I'm just following the tutorial. Using payloads. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. God. I'm sure we'll just explore these as we go on. Networking commands, file system commands. You can basically do what the hell you want, can't you? Cool. User interface commands. Start capturing keystrokes. Take a snapshot to list the webcams. Play a waveform audio file in case you want to just, scare the hell out of your target. Attempt to elevate your privilege. It's quite easy, isn't it? Just a bunch of commands, isn't it? That was really, you could, with a bit of practice, you can get this down to probably about a minute. You're in someone's system. It's kind of scary. Interpreter navigation. Extracting user hashes from SAM to take in screenshots. Open a shell channel. Wow. Interpreter navigation. Shell channel 1. Blah, blah, blah. Channel 1 has been created and it will be placed into the CLI for this machine. Huh. Channel here represents the connection between our device and the target host, which has been established in a reverse TCP connection using the interpreter stager and stage. The stager is activated on the machine to await connection request initialized by the stage payload on the target machine. Moving into a standard shell at the target is helpful in some cases, but the interpreter can also navigate and perform actions on the victim machine. So we can see that the commands have changed, but we have the same privilege level within the system. Okay. To Windows operating systems. So a bunch of different payloads, common payloads. That's the one we've been using, or they've been using. Normal shell, single payload, shell, stager, and stage. Different things, different strokes for different folks. I don't know why you'd use a particular one. Maybe just, depending on what services are vulnerable, I guess, and things like that, or what you want to do. Other critical payloads that are heavily used by penetration testers during security assessments are Empire and Cobalt Strike payloads. Besides these, of course, there are a plethora of other payloads. Some are for specific device vendors, Cisco, Apple, PLCs. Some we can generate ourselves using MSFN, and we'll get onto that. We'll look at targets and how they can be used to influence the attack outcome. Awesome. I'll come back to all of this, but exploit the Apache Druid service and find the flag. Submit the contents. I think we're going to leave it there, but next, we've done a significant amount. We've made maybe about a third of the way through this course. We're on to targets, payloads. Oh no, we're on coders. We're about halfway through. But we'll go through this. We'll go through the tutorial. Go back actually tomorrow. Go back through these more interactive bits. All right. I hope that was semi-interesting. If not, well, feel free to complain. I won't be listening, but like and subscribe, obviously. And I will see you tomorrow.